and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our book for today is Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi
Carlo Collodi.
and published by Wordsworth Classics or Editions. I'm not sure. Now, there's some wild things happening in this one, so if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. I'll put the translator here if I can find him. For some reason I couldn't in the book. Alright, so I think Pinocchio is quite a well-known story. Or a well-known classic. Well, there's of course the Disney movies and probably a lot of other movies. Now this is the English translation. I should have said that probably a little earlier. Originally, it's in Italian, and I most likely butchered the author's surname. My apologies. So yeah, now Pinocchio wasn't like high up on the list of classics I wanted to read. But when my friend Leor showed me that he had a copy, I decided to buy it from him. And I thought, you know what, I'll read the original story. Because I did watch the Walt Disney Pinocchio animated movie, I remember. I wanted to see what the original was like, because obviously a lot of fairy tales are softened for children nowadays. Back then, things were wild, and definitely not meant for children. So it pretty much goes as the movie if you watch the Walt Disney one. Although, I don't remember why there Geppetto decides to build, to make a puppet. I think then he makes puppets, right? But in here he doesn't. The story starts completely with someone, a carpenter called Mr. Cherry, who has this log of wood that he decides to make a leg for a table out of, but it keeps talking, and then Geppetto arrives to see him to get a bit of wood so he can make a puppet to earn some money. And then he gives him that piece of wood after they hash it out, some fisticuffs, as Mr. Gray would say. And then he makes a puppet. He makes Pinocchio. And then the shenanigans continue on. It's like in the movie. Pinocchio basically throughout the whole story keeps promising to be a good son to Geppetto, promises to be a good boy, to study hard, to learn a trade, but consistently keeps getting, basically, again, making a bad decision and doing the wrong thing. And he goes on all these adventures. First, he wants to go to school. Well, the story begins. He tries to run away from Geppetto. Geppetto catches up to him, thanks to the police or the Canabari. I had to look that up because I wasn't. I mean, I assumed it was something like that, but I wasn't sure. And then people think that Geppetto's gonna be mean to him and hit him, so Geppetto gets thrown in jail. And Pinocchio's left alone in the house. Oh, and then we meet the talking cricket. Not called Jiminy Cricket, just the talking cricket. And Pinocchio kills him. But don't worry, he comes back later. It's just wild stuff. So yeah, Pinocchio keeps starting out, finally learning how to be a good boy. He also meets the fairy. At first, he meets her as a blue-haired, beautiful child. And she helps him out after he's tricked by the cat and the fox. I don't remember if they were in the animated movie. He promises to be good. Again, he gets distracted, goes somewhere else. Meanwhile, Geppetto's looking for him. And they end up being separated because Geppetto goes out at sea. Along the way, he does meet creatures and people that help him. And then at some point, things are looking up. He meets the fairy again. She's now an older woman. And he lives with her and he studies and everything. Then he gets convinced by his friend Kendallwick to go to the land of boobies. I wonder what the Italian word was, as it's the land of booby. Now, obviously, it probably has different meaning, not breasts. I just wonder what it is. It's convinced by Kendallwick. If you go, it's a great land. It's only full of little boys, and you get to play all day, and there are no schools and everything. So he goes. He stays there for like 7 months, and he becomes a donkey. Then I think in the animated movie, it's after he goes to the circus. I don't remember. Hey, he becomes a donkey. Candlewick becomes a donkey. Then they're taken by the round fat man that brought them to the land of boobies and are sold. Pinocchio is sold to a circus and is taught how to do tricks, but then he doesn't succeed in doing jumping through a hoop, and both of his front legs, donkey legs, are forever ruined. So he's sold at the market in order to be made a drum out of. And then, in order to use his skin, the guy who buys him, the peasant, just decides to drown him. I mean, shit. Would have been more merciful to, I don't know, hit him on the head a few times with a rock. My God. Well, anyway, because he does this, the fairy comes to his aid, and fish swim to him and basically eat him out. Like, they eat everything around his donkey form, and then comes out Pinocchio the puppet again. And he tells the peasant how he has, ruined everything, and he was this close to becoming a real boy. As the fairy told him, if you stay good and do all this, you'll become a real boy. Well, then he goes in search of his father, and ends up being swallowed by the big dogfish. I wish I remembered what it was. I think in the movie it was a whale. Anyway, he's swallowed, he meets another fish inside, but then in the big dogfish, he sees a light. He goes to it, and there's Geppetto. He's been surviving inside of this fish for 2 years now, which is how long Pinocchio's been gone. Yeah, don't think about it too hard, how he wasn't digested. But the pirate ship was also swallowed by the dogfish. Yeah, I think dogfish he was called. And there was food and everything, so he survived off of that. But then Pinocchio takes him and they escape. They almost don't make it to shore, but then Pinocchio and his father are saved by the fish, the other fish that was there. So they get to shore. They keep walking until they meet the cat, and the cat and the fox that fooled Pinocchio by convincing him to give 5 golden coins that he was given by a puppet show owner. Yeah, but then and now their ruse was the cat pretended to be blind, and the fox pretended to have a lame leg. But now they actually have that. So they go until they come to this little house. They go in, and it belongs to the cricket, who's now mysteriously alive again. So Pinocchio asks the cricket, can we stay here? And the cricket says, all right. And he lets them stay there, and Pinocchio says they need some milk for Geppetto. And the cricket tells him, well, go to the farmer and ask him if he'll give you a bit of milk. So he goes to the farmer that's not far from there. And he tells him, well, it's going to cost you this much. Of course, Pinocchio doesn't have any money. And he's about to leave, but then the farmer says, "Well, I had this donkey." No, before that, he said, "Okay, why don't you, if you work the what is that thing? The thing that draws water, the pump. If you work it, then I'll give you a saucer, not saucer. He'll give him like a big bottle of milk." So Pinocchio does that, and then he gets shown the donkey that used to do that job, and it's Candlewick. And he's just there, has arrived to see Candlewick die. It's quite sad. Then he goes back, and so every day he goes to that farmer to get milk for Geppetto, and then he gets some kind of material, makes baskets, and sells them, and things go on like that for a little while. And then one day, as he goes, because he saved up like 40 copper coins, he's going to buy himself a jacket and a hat and everything. And he tells Geppetto that he's going. But on the way, he meets a snail that used to serve the fairy. And the snail tells him, "Oh, the fairy's in really bad condition. She's in the hospital and she needs money." So he gives her all the 40 copper coins and tells her, "Come back in 2 days, I'll have more." He goes back home, and that night, instead of making, 8 baskets, he makes 16. And then he goes to bed late, and he has a dream about the fairy. And when he wakes up, the whole house they were living in is different. And he's now a real boy, and he has clothes. And he has a little purse in his pocket, and inside of it, there are 40 golden coins instead of the 40 copper ones. And he goes to his father and asks him, "Father, why are things like that?" And he says, "It's because you did good, my boy." And that's it. The story ends. Pinocchio is now a real boy, a hard-working boy. And that is the end of the story. Whew, let me tell you, it's a bit of a wild ride with everything that happens to Pinocchio. I mean, holy shit. Okay, let's go to the cover for a second. I really like the illustration on the cover. Oh, I can tell you actually who that is by. Because it says here, cover illustration, "This the Seasons" by James Hill. It's from around 1930. Courtesy of the Sullivan Collection and the Bridgeman Art Library, London. Oh, cool. And cover design is by Tony Collins. Now, the illustration is fantastic. I think it's very pretty, but I don't like the cover design. Obviously, it's yellow. But also, the problem is here, besides the yellow for me, like you see here the name of the author. What should have been done, you see here in the cover, and not the cover, the title, there's a bit of shadowing. They should have done a little bit something here as well. A little bit of shadowing. Because, if you look from afar, you can barely read the name of the author or the publisher. Okay, I suppose the main thing should be Pinocchio, but still, it's so overpowered by the yellow that you can't see it. That really should have been designed a little different. Either, I don't know, a different shade of yellow or something, or again, maybe altogether a different color. But I would have fixed it differently, personally. Because, it's hard to see. It's a little too much. But besides that, again, this illustration is adorable. Okay, now, other than that, well, we all understand, I'm sure, the moral of the story. Work hard, study, take care of your parents, don't lie. I forgot to talk about that. Pinocchio's nose does grow a lot when he lies. But also, if he tells the truth, it shrinks back. And at first, Pinocchio's not even aiming to be a real boy. It's only later on. So as you can see, Walt Disney took the main idea here and turned it into something different. Which I think I have to say here that the way the movie did it was better as a way of a story than the book. Well, I mean, it goes the same way. Pinocchio gets into all sorts of trouble until he finally finds his father and then turns into a real boy. It happens very differently. I think in Walt Disney they made Pinocchio so a little less mean, a lot less mean. There's a little bit mean at times here in the book. It's kind of reminds me of, you know what, the shit. It was the same kind of in Charlotte's Web and also in The Wizard of Oz. It's like you get a little bit of whiplash from the behavior of the characters sometimes. Because at one point they get really mean and things are, but then, well, like again, the other second, like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't really explain it properly. It's like this. It's like this sort of thing with old books and the classics. I don't know. Maybe someone out there just has what I'm talking about, but it's kind of funny sometimes. But overall, I did enjoy the story. I think that it could have been a little shorter because it's about like 200 pages, a little under. I feel like it could have been less because some of these obviously it's going to become repetitive a little because again, Pinocchio keeps like almost getting there, but then turns around and still does the thing that he shouldn't. So yeah, it's again could have been shorter. I'm kind of curious how the unbridged version is. I wonder what they cut out of there. Like I would have cut out a few scenes in here probably. Leave the main ones. But yeah. Oh, anyway. Overall, it's a fun story. Something pretty, I'm sure that would be really amusing to read with the kids. See yourself as an adult, even just to see the shenanigans. Because say what you will, Mr. Collodi
Carlo Collodi.
sure wrote a very interesting and colorful adventure. Again, my apologies, I'm probably butchering his surname. Alright, folks, that's all I have to say. Oh, wait, I forgot there are illustrations inside. How could I forget to show you these? Oh, and yeah, the illustrations are by Charles Folkard. Over here, you can see him. Yeah, oh, sorry, I can't believe I almost forgot. His illustrations are great here. Would be a shame not to at least show you a few. That's some reason a goat. Okay, so there we go. That's Mr. Cherry. Let me find you one of Pinocchio here. Oh, there's Pinocchio and the cricket, the talking cricket. Which was later named in the Disney version Jiminy Cricket. There's some really great illustrations here. That was the Grand Puppet Theater. I see that's where Pinocchio gets trapped by a bear trap. He wants to go and get some grapes. Oh, and there we go. There he meets Geppetto again inside the fish. Let me just show you. And there he is as a little real boy. There we go. A great illustration. I can't believe I've forgotten almost to show you. I'd have been ashamed. Okay, so for real this time, that's it, folks. Let me know what you thought of Pinocchio, if you've ever read the story. And, okay, that is it. Let me know down below. And remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!